cultures of lifting and tattoo collecting seem to go hand in hand. I think it has a lot to do with the desire to modify one's body to be more appealing to live in. Both can be taken to extremes or dabbled in to whatever degree the person chooses. And both can be used as a form of self-expression that, let's face it, other people might not understand. So it's probably pretty apparent that I'm very heavily tattooed, and I've been collecting tattoos for about 14 years at this point, most recently getting my hand done in Belgium after competing in the IPF Open World Championships in Dubai. Now, because my life runs very deep in both of these avenues, I often get a lot of questions about how to manage the healing of a tattoo and how to work that in or around training. So here's my advice. Now, I generally use a pretty simple rule of thumb when it comes to healing tattoos and training, and that is, if it hurts, don't do it. Now, tattoos will heal differently, and in some cases, they will peel and flake very nicely, and they'll go through stages throughout this healing process where it's more or less harmful to be moving them around. Some tattoos will swell a lot and get a little more scabby, and these are the times where you're gonna wanna be moving that skin a little bit less. If your new tattoo crosses a joint, say your wrist or the inside of your elbow, you may want to look at modifying your training so you're not continually moving that joint. That constant stretching and moving of the skin can lengthen and disrupt the healing process, as well as potentially cause that tattoo to lose a little bit of color and look faded as it heals. For some more specific examples, when I had my upper back done as part of my back piece, I avoided high bar and low bar squats and instead did front squats or maybe some safety bar squats, as well as bench pressing was changed to overhead pressing so I wasn't laying down on the freshly tattooed skin and scrunching it up and digging my back into the bench. On the flip side, when I got the bear done on the inside of my forearm, I literally deadlifted that day. It didn't impact anything else that I was doing, and was done in small enough sessions that I wasn't super beat up and tired and fatigued from the actual tattooing process, which is also something I think that's important to take into consideration. It's all about being creative and riding that line of doing what you need to do without disrupting the healing process too much. Again, pain is a good indicator. You should probably find a way around it. But don't just take my word for it. We decided to sit down with Shane Ford, a tattoo artist who's covered about half my body with tattoos by now, and get his opinion on the whole thing.
So do you guys have like a general, like you mentioned it was kind of for like lifting and healing tattoos at the same time?
Yeah, so I mean, we just kind of wanted to talk to you about, like I imagine you've probably tattooed more people than just me who are lifters. So just like wondering what, if somebody came to you and was like, yeah, I'm a lifter, I like to, lift weights all the time, but I want to get tattooed, like what kinds of things would you tell that person specifically about trying to heal their tattoo as a lifter?
I would say, like, if you can take the time, like, ideally, everybody that gets tattooed goes and sits on the couch for 3 days and doesn't move and doesn't do anything.
Okay.
And then it's gonna, then that's the perfect scenario, but nobody can do that.
Right. So you think like 3 days is usually about the window?
Yeah, like kind of when that leftover, like, you kind of have that after tattooing kind of pain in there a little bit.
Yeah.
Usually that goes with 2-3 days, I would say. Personally, I don't want to work out anyway because it hurts, But if you're on some kind of like a strict thing and you have to absolutely do it, I'd probably my biggest concern is like being in a dirty gym and like kind of having something touch it or infections and things like that.
Yeah.
That's probably the big one.
Okay.
So if you can get some kind of a barrier there, like that second skin, but don't leave it on for a huge period of time. Yeah. That's what I do for myself. But.
Yeah. So even just like saran wrap or something like that while you're at the gym so nothing's rubbing on it?
Yeah, I mean, that would suck, but that's better than, getting an infection.
It's better than the alternative, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
So the other thing that a lot of people seem to want to know about was like, if you're changing body weights, how much is that going to affect the tattoo? I know I've gained like 100 pounds since my first tattoo, and it's maybe a bit bigger and like a little bit blurrier in spots, but it's not like blown out or anything. What's your experience like with that?
I've seen a lot of people like get tattooed when they're larger and then lose a lot of weight, like a lot of body fat, and you kind of get this contortion thing happening. Like, I don't know if it distorts the image fully, but it's gonna look different. Like your skin is kind of stretches in all ways.
Right.
So it's not just going to go up and down. It kind of goes like a balloon almost.
Right.
But you'd have to put on a lot of muscle and weight to like really change the way a tattoo looks.
Or lose a lot of weight, like in those cases you mentioned. Is that like, that's probably pretty drastic body weight loss though, hey?
Yeah, like hundreds of pounds.
Yeah.
Or like a similar situation, I guess, would be like women, they get their stomach tattooed and then they have a baby.
Yeah.
And you'll see that there's definitely like an effect to it.
Yeah.
But that's, again, pretty extreme, like as opposed to what you're going to have happen on your arm or a leg or something like that. So,
yeah, totally.
So maybe noticeable, but not like enough to, really change the tattoo or something like that.
Yeah. Another thing a lot of people seem to like be kind of concerned about that I didn't really get was people are wondering like, oh, what if I get sweat in my tattoo? Is that a thing? Yeah. Like I'm assuming you're gonna sweat anyways. Like you get a tattoo in the summer, you're gonna sweat on it. Is that something that people should be concerned about? Is like sweating when they have a fresh tattoo?
I mean, a big part of it is like, I'm sure you remember, like people sweat while they get tattooed. Yeah. Like those pads that we have on the table.
Yeah.
Like, you have a little snowman on there. When you, yeah. Like you're never not going to sweat, and it's never like a bad thing. But you're like sweating and then not showering,
right?
And having it for a long time,
right?
That's where you're going to run into some,
just clean your shit,
maybe. But even then, it's kind of coming from your body, so it's not the worst case scenario, but washing it and keeping it clean afterwards is definitely something you want to do.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, just clean your shit up.
Yeah, clean your shit. Yeah.
And so just generally speaking, like what's kind of like your aftercare spiel? Like what's your aftercare recommendation overall? If somebody gets a fresh tattoo and they're about to walk out, like what are your guidelines for healing a tattoo cleanly?
Less is more kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like essentially your body's gonna try and heal itself. Like just try not to get in the way of that.
Right.
Try not to, everybody's got some crazy creams that's gonna speed it up or do all this. Don't do any of that. Like just kind of let it do its thing. Try not to step on its toes. Like your body's gonna heal itself. So I aside from like bandaging the tattoo right when it's fresh, I usually say keep that on 4 or 5 hours, or if you got tattooed in the evening, take it off in the morning.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to do that peeling it off the sheets kind of move.
Yeah, that's not fun.
I like Aquaphor. I've really come around on that one.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Especially like now we're in the winter here, like it's kind of dry out.
Yeah.
So it helps you not get that kind of like really persistent kind of scabbing on it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I really don't recommend too much. I've started using a lot of glycerin soap myself. When I get tattooed.
Yeah.
You can get it in like a bar form, and it just seems to be like the most simple form of soap.
Yeah.
So right when you take that bandage off, you kind of have that slime on top. Just using like a glycerin soap there.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, but other than that, just not trying to. Can we swear?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, just don't fuck it up. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, just let it heal itself.
Yeah, I think one of the like you kind of got me turned on to the Aquaphor, and I found that keeping it that little bit moist with the Aquaphor, like you said, it keeps it from like aggressively scabbing, which generally from like a lifting standpoint allows you to move it more without like cracking and breaking that healing skin, right?
Yeah, because if you have it gets really tense, around that kind of weak mark or so, and you can definitely split some skin if it, depending on where it is, that can happen. So, yeah, I think it just doesn't feel so tight and like restricted. Yeah. With the Aquaphor on it. Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, that's honestly that's kind of all we wanted to touch on, and we just wanted to get obviously a professional's opinion on things, a little bit more legitimacy to some of the recommendations we're giving here. So it's good to hear we're kind of on the same page.
Cool, man. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for your time. And if anybody is looking to get tattooed by Shane Ford, we'll maybe put your Instagram handle on the screen so people can get your details and check out some of your sweet tattoos and stuff.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
For sure, man. So to sum it up, it really depends where you're getting tattooed and how the healing process goes. But in most cases, you can continue training as normal with little to no modification. All right, thanks for tuning in. That's gonna be it for today. If you have any other questions, we actually did a big Q&A video on this topic. It's gonna be out tomorrow, so go check that out. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, like it if you liked it, share it with your friends if they're thinking about getting tattooed and they are lifting weights, and we'll see y'all in the next video.